Olá, eu sou o Igor e hoje vamos ter a oportunidade de ouvir do próprio compositor Barry Leitch sobre a criação das músicas de Top Gear, um dos jogos de corrida mais populares no Brasil. Além disso, vamos ter uma participação surpresa especial e descobrir como Barry quase desistiu do projeto Horizon Chase 2 devido à crise dos chips e como ele aprendeu música por programação em vez de uma escola de música convencional. Não percam essa chance única de mergulhar no mundo da música dos games com o verdadeiro mestre da composição. Aperte um play e vem de retro. Barry Leitch, é uma honra para nós aqui do Vem de Retro ter esta oportunidade de falar com um dos nossos maiores ídolos.
Hi, I'm Barry Leitch and you're watching Vem de Retro.
Barry, eu também estudei música, sou um apaixonado por esta arte. Como a música entrou na sua vida?
Well, when I was younger, very young, my grandmother used to play keyboard at the church, the church organ. And so she had a big one tempi organ at her house, and you could press a button and it would start the backing track, and you could keep one finger on the bass line and play chords and stuff. It was great to mess around and create music with that, or what sounded like music. It was just simple stuff. It always fascinated me that you could use technology to create music in that simple way rather than have to learn to play piano and stuff. I had a friend that learned to play piano, and it sucked for him because he had to practice every night for an hour, and his mum would get so mad at him if he didn't practice enough. So that sucked. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have to sit and practice. I like the idea of technology just making it easy. Press one key, play a chord, boom. It makes your tune for you. So when computers came around, first thing I did was start programming them to play music and stuff. So that was how the downward spiral started.
E como foi que você transformou a música em profissão?
Well, when I started creating pieces of music on the computer, on the Commodores, and I started on like the Sinclair Spectrum and then did some on the BBC Model B, but it wasn't until the Commodore 64 came around that by then other people were starting to create music on it. There was some great video game composers, Rob Hubbard, Martin Galway, Ben Dalglish. I mean, these guys were great composers, and they were using the computer to make music. And when I heard it, I was like, damn, that's really good. I'd like to do that. I started creating music, and I made demos, and I sent them to all the game companies in Britain, and I phoned them all up. And I was 15 years old at the time. And I called them all up, told them how great my music was, and that they should put the music in their games. And most of them were like, yeah, kid, go away. The music's not that great. And then eventually one of them, he heard one of the tunes and he said, oh, that one tune, that's not totally terrible. Maybe we'll buy that one. So that was how I started at 15 years old.
E no início da sua carreira, quais foram suas principais referências?
Well, obviously what the other video game composers were doing was massively influential at the time. I mean, it still is. I mean, those guys were such great composers, and the things they did technically on the Commodore 64 are astounding.
Existem outros grandes compositores, como por exemplo o japonês Hiroshi Okubo. Você tem contato com colegas de outros países?
Yeah, there's some great composers out there. I tend to keep in touch with most of the older British composers. We're all in the same game together. We all, grew up doing the same things, just different companies. In those days, I think it was a lot more competitive because there was only so many video games at the time. And now there's so many. There's enough work for all the composers and a lot more. It's just all spread out more. But yeah, I've never really got to know any Japanese composers. I think that would be interesting. I'd like to be interested to hear their takes. I think the compositions are technically amazing. I certainly can't write what they write. Maybe they think the same way about our stuff. Who knows? There's a big cultural divide. And I write a lot of music for children's toys and stuff. And whenever they say can you write something that sounds Japanese or Chinese or obviously these are two different countries, but to the Western ear, these are it just all kind of gets grouped together, and I wonder if they think the same way about our music, Western music, but it's all just kind of the same. Who knows?
Barry, como foi quando você descobriu o quanto sua obra fez parte da infância de tantos brasileiros?
Well, that was really kind of amazing. It was Nino Mega Driver. He contacted me about 20 years ago, more than that now, probably 25. He said, "Oh, hey, I can play Top Gear on guitar." I was like, "No, you can't. That's stupid. Nobody can do that." And he sent me a video. He's like, "No, yeah, look, I can do it." And he plays it. Blah, 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 blah. Damn, you know, he could play it. So it's very, very touching. It didn't really. I mean, people tell you that everybody in this country knows your music, and you're like, yeah, that's sure they do, you know. And it wasn't until I was in Brazil. I was there for a Video Games Live concert where we were performing the orchestration, the orchestral version. I did a medley of Top Gear and Horizon Chase, and I was hanging out with Nino, and Nino liked to do this thing where we'd stop people in the street and he'd say, "Hey, this is the guy, the guy that knows Top Gear, the guy that wrote Top Gear. Do you guys know the music?" And most of the people knew. There was we stopped the policeman to get my picture taken with a Brazilian cop. You know, he was standing there with his gun and stuff, and Nino's like, "Oh, this guy wrote Top Gear." And he's like, "Oh, I know that," and he starts whistling the music. I think it was about the end of that point that you start to realize that everybody knows this. It's daunting, it's intimidating, but it's very touching and humbling at the same time.
Que incrível! Ninguém melhor que o próprio Nino da Mega Driver para contar um pouco dessa história.
Hey! Time for a little bit of English here. Hey, I don't know if you noticed that the video that's playing here on my arcade. This is a video compilation of Mega Driver performing Top Gear all over Brazil. And as you can see, all that joy, happiness, and craziness was only possible because several years ago, a Scottish youngster sat down on a lady computer and wrote down the most iconic video game tune ever. And let me show you something here, Barry, that I'm pretty sure you remember. This is the set list of our first show together. Man, you know, we love you so much here. Not only me and my family and the guys from Mega Driver, but all Brazil loves you, man. And you always have a special place in my heart, dude. And I'm so glad that you're still kicking ass, composing some serious tunes for video games. Horizon Chase 1 and 2 are awesome, and everybody must play that. I wish you all the luck, man. We love you so much. Thanks for all that happiness and joy and craziness. And as you already know, you are pra
Este solo merece até uma curtida. Ainda não é inscrito? Se inscreva para mais vídeos como este aqui no Vem de Retro. Barry, e o trabalho com o pessoal da Kiris Game Studio ficou fantástico no Horizon Chase Turbo. Conte um pouco sobre o seu trabalho na continuação deste incrível jogo, o Horizon Chase 2.
Well, that would be that one, Horizon Chase 2, the continuation. Obviously, Horizon Chase 1 was a super fun project because they were just like this is it was a celebration of Top Gear, and so there was no creative control or direction on me. They were just like, here, write some music, and I had a lot of fun. I went crazy, probably too much crazy at times, but I wrote all these tunes and everybody seemed to like it. And so when we did the second one, obviously it's not retro styled. You can see the graphics are hugely updated, and so the soundtrack had to match it. Had to be far more modern, slick, polished, we had Paolo Borer, the Chorus's in-house audio guy, giving me support and acting as producer. He laid down all the live guitar tracks, did a fantastic job with the guitar. And the production, I mean, I like to give Paolo a hard time, but Paolo did a great job doing the production. I mean, it's always good to have a second pair of ears on a piece of music. He actually came up from Brazil, and we worked here for 10 days doing all the final mixes and mastering on all the tracks. And even then, you know, with two of us sitting here doing the mixing, you'll be working away on it, and you sit and listen to the tune, you're like, something's missing, what is it? And you can't quite put your finger on it, and then you realise that the snare drum's missing, and just the two of you completely blanked out on it. It can never hurt to have an extra pair of ears when you're mixing stuff. It was very good, a good experience all around. I think both me and Paolo really enjoyed it, and I think that the product is very polished as a result of that. Horizon Chase 2 was actually very difficult to write for, particularly because I get caught in the chip crisis. You know, there's a electronic chip crisis going on, which really messed up. Like I said, I do a lot of music for children's toys and stuff. And so right in the middle of doing Horizon Chase 2, the toy company had to reprogram all of their toy chips for different chips, which meant I got insanely busy. And it was really difficult to try and manage my time and to finish the project. Actually, there was times when I came close to just saying, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do all these jobs at once, it was too much. We got there in the end.
Barry, a sua obra é vasta no mundo dos games. Quais são as suas composições preferidas? Se é que dá para ter um filho preferido, não é mesmo?
Well, that's true. It's very difficult. I mean, I think most composers like to think that their very last, whatever they worked on last, was the best thing they ever did. And I think that's true at the moment. It's still Horizon Chase 2. I still really like that. I'm quite proud of it. But I mean, there's other games, you know, I know games like, there was a flight simulator on the PC that I did when I was at Ocean Software called TFX. It was the first big, huge game soundtrack that I felt was complete as a soundtrack. I was quite proud of that one. And obviously Top Gear and Lotus 2. There's many games that I've worked on that I liked at the time. There's a lot of them that I wrote at the time that I don't like anymore, but yeah, if you ask me in 6 months if I still like Horizon Chase 2, the answer will be no. Because now when I listen to Top Gear or Horizon Chase Turbo, there's tunes I listen to and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I don't like that tune anymore. Things like that. Anyway, that's all. Thanks very much. It's been good talking to you. And again, you're watching Vem de Retro. Thanks.
Barry, I can't find the right words to express how much your work has been important to us Brazilians. Top Gears wasn't just a game. With your music, it became an unforgettable experience. It's impossible to listen to the game's soundtrack and not get emotional. It reminds us of a wonderful time when we come home from school and run to play our favorite racing game with the sound of TV at the highest volume. You just composed iconic music for one series of games. You created the best memories for so many gamers. Thank you very much, Master Barry Leitch. E este foi o vídeo de hoje. Curta se gostou e se inscreva para mais vídeos como este aqui no Vem de Retro.